Hello friends, so in this video I'll be discussing with you about the class 10 science, which is from chapter 11, and the chapter name is called Human Eye and Colorful World. Okay, so moving on straight to the main topics. The first one comes the human eye. The structure, the components I'll be explaining to you in my other video more in detail. So for now, let us study how a human eye sees the object, okay, or how the image is formed at the retina. Now usually the image is formed at the retina, and that way they can see the objects, okay, or the image is formed at the retina. So let us study how it works or how it functions. Okay, when the rays of light enters our eye through the pupil, it reaches and strikes the optical nerve, which is just behind the eye, okay, which is just behind the eye lens maybe. Okay, so on striking the optical nerve, it will send a signal to the brain, and the brain will transmit a signal in the form of image, and that way the image is formed at the retina. Retina is also present behind the eye. Okay, now that way a human eye can see the object. Now the next one goes to power of accommodation. Power of accommodation means it is the ability of an eye to adjust itself in order to see the distant object as well as the nearby objects clearly. Okay, here it is the work of the ciliary muscle to contract as well as to relax in order to see the nearby objects and the far objects clearly respectively. The first one, if the ciliary muscle relaxes, then the focal length of the eye lens increases, and therefore they can see the distant object clearly. The next one, when the ciliary muscle contracts, that time the focal length of the eye lens reduces or gets shorter, and therefore they can see the nearby objects clearly. Okay. The next one is defects. Here we shall study about three defects. The first one is the myopia, which is also called short-sightedness. Second one is hypermetropia, which is also called long-sightedness, and presbyopia, which is we don't give any name. So the myopia is usually suffered by children or at a young age. Okay, it is suffered at a young age. They can see nearby objects clearly, but they cannot see distant object clearly, and this kind of defects can be corrected by using concave lens, and concave lens are usually in negative. Okay, so it will be minus. Okay, then hypermetropia, this is also called long-sightedness, which means this kind of defect, okay, this kind of patient can see far objects clearly, but they cannot see nearby objects clearly. Now this kind of problems or this kind of defect is it occurs only at the old age. Okay, so they in order to rectify or correct this kind of defect, they have to use convex lens, and convex lens are positive. Okay, plus sign. And the next one is presbyopia. Presbyopia is a defect where that patient cannot see nearby object as well as the distant object clearly. They cannot see. Okay, now in order to correct or rectify this kind of defect, they have to use a combination of both convex lens as well as the concave lens. Okay, now the next one, it is a refraction of light through glass slab. Okay, so glass slab is an example. Okay, so refraction means it is a bending of light, so there is a change in the path of the length. So during experiment we try to calculate the refractive index, which I have already discussed in my previous video of chapter 10, class 10. Okay, so it is nothing much to explain about it also. Okay, then the next one, obviously there are some applications or some natural phenomenon for which, okay, we can see. So like the of stars, or the advanced sunrise and delayed sunset. Okay, those are some of the phenomenon, okay, because of refraction of light that occurs. Now the next one is dispersion of white light. Okay, dispersion of white light by a glass prism. Dispersion means it is a scattering of the white light into its components, which is Vibgyor. Okay, V for, okay, I think you will know what is Vibgyor. Okay, V for violet, I for indigo, and so on. So dispersion means the white light get dispersed or get scattered into its own components. That is called dispersion of white light. Okay, now moving on to the next one, that is the reason in an. Okay, the twinkling of stars. Now as we see from the earth's surface, when we look at the sky at night, we find that the stars twinkle, but actually, in fact, the stars actually do not twinkle. But when the light that comes from the star, okay, the light that comes from the star has to undergo so many refractions because of the atmospheric air. Okay, in the atmosphere the air is dense, and therefore it undergoes refraction, and therefore from the surface of the earth, when we look at the sky, the stars appears to twinkle. Okay, so that is the only reason. The next one is advanced sunrise and delayed sunset. Okay, during the sunrise, we don't, like in the early morning during the sunrise, I think I would say like around 2 minutes advance we find uh, advanced sunrise than the actual ones of there is a difference of 2 minutes, and therefore even delayed sunset also. Okay, so this is only because of the refraction of light. Okay, the only reason is because of the refraction of light. Okay, because it has to undergo refraction as it comes from the sun. Okay, the light that comes from the sun has to undergo refraction, or it undergoes refraction because of the air density. Okay, and therefore it has advanced sunrise as well as delayed sunset. Okay, now the next one is scattering of light. Okay, scattering of light means a light, okay, the light that gets scattered. Okay, they get scattered or they get splitted, I would say. Okay, it's not the same as that of the dispersion of light. In dispersion of light, the white light, they scatter and give out the components of the white light. Okay, so like Vibgyor, indigo, green, yellow, orange, and red. Okay, it has its respective color, but in scattering of light, it does not give its the white light does not give its components. Okay, or does not get scattered into its components, but a particular white light will get scattered. Okay, it will get scattered in all direction. Okay, when it strikes any kind of particle or any obstacle, that is called the scattering of light. Now one of the example we can see is in Tyndall effect. A colloidal solution, okay, when the torch is lighted and when the light is passed or allowed to pass through a colloidal solution, due to the presence of the particles, okay, colloidal particles, the light gets scattered, and that is called the Tyndall effect. Okay, the next one is, why is the color of the clear sky blue? Now this is also because of the scattering of light. When the light, okay, when the light that comes from the sun enters, okay, the earth's atmosphere, due to like all the what to say, the red light, okay, the red light enters, okay, I mean all the color that enter into the eye, I mean into the surface of the earth, what happens, the blue light, okay, or the violet, okay, or the blue light that has least, again, that has less wavelength gets scattered more. Okay, whereas the red light that enters the eye. Okay, now since the blue light gets scattered, okay, because of its less wavelength. Okay, because of less wavelength, therefore we find the sky to be blue in color. I hope you are clear. I hope you are clear. Let me clear it to you again. Now, in the dispersion of light, the blue light, okay, violet, blue, okay, they have less wavelength compared to the red light. So, when it enters the Earth's atmosphere, because of the dense air, the blue light gets scattered more, okay, and the sky appears to be blue. So that is the only reason. It is the only reason would be the scattering of light, okay, and that is also the scattering of the blue light because of its low wavelength or less or shorter wavelength. Okay, the next one is color of the sun at the sunrise and sunset is reddish in color. Now, in the morning when we look at the sun, okay, along the horizon, obviously when the sun is overhead, the sun looks bright. Okay, now according to the studies, the air density is more in the horizon than when it is overhead. Okay, that's the air density is more dense when it is, okay, the air density is more dense at the horizon than overhead. Therefore, when during the sunrise or during the sunset, the rays of light that enters the Earth's surface undergoes scattering, okay, and all the shorter wavelengths like the violet, indigo, blue, green, these things, all this light, okay, due to shorter wavelength, they get scattered, but only the red light, due to its longer wavelength, do not get scattered, and therefore it enters our eye. Okay, and we see only reddish color when we look at the sun. Okay, because all the other lights, all the other colors, okay, or the light are scattered, whereas only the red light enters into our eye, and therefore we see red, okay, the reddish color during the sunrise and the sunset. Okay, so I don't know how clear you were for this color of the sky, to be blue, and then the sunrise and sunset as reddish in color. So if you are not clear with this one, kindly comment and I'll try to help out and then make it in a more better way of explanation. And I still have one more topic to be explained, that is the human eye, its structure and the components. So I will be explaining you in my later chapter. Moreover, about the construction of the myopia, hypermetropia, the rectification, the how the lens, where the image is forming. Okay, so that one is also yet to be explained. That one I will do it in the next video along with some numerical problems based on myopia and hypermetropia. So thank you very much for watching this video, and do not forget to subscribe, share, and also in order to get the notifications, please click the bell icon. Thank you for watching.